The Arts and Cultural Facility Improvement Program, also known as the Mid-Size Capital Project Fund, is a NYSCA funding opportunity. The Mid-Size Capital Fund is offered alongside 3 other REDC initiatives, as well as funding opportunities through 15 other NYSCA arts and cultural programs. In FY18, NYSCA distributed approximately $41 million in local assistance through approximately 1,100 direct grants and 1,300 regrants to organizations across the state. When applying to NYSCA's REDC opportunities, prospective applicants are encouraged to review their strategic priorities for their own regions so that they may more effectively speak to them in their applications. All REDC applications will be submitted through the Consolidated Funding Application, or CFA portal, which can be accessed through the link on the screen. By applying through the CFA, applicants may submit a single application for multiple opportunities across different agencies. Applications must be submitted no later than July 26, 2019 at 4 p.m. Applications submitted after this time cannot be accepted under any circumstances. Applicants are strongly encouraged to submit their applications earlier than this date to avoid any technical difficulties and leave time to troubleshoot unexpectedly when using the site. For the 2020 fiscal year, up to $1.75 million will be available through the Arts and Cultural Facilities Improvement Mid-Size Capital Fund grant opportunity. Applicants may request grants between $49,500 and $150,000 for use over 3 years beginning in March 2020. For facilities requests below $49,500, please visit NYSCA's website to explore alternative opportunities at arts.ny.gov. The Arts and Cultural Facilities Capital Grant Program was established to support capital improvements that improve the quality, efficiency, and accessibility of arts and culture organizations, to strengthen tourism, and to promote business development in New York State. Funding is available for renovations and expansions of spaces that are open to the public, for modifications to facilities that will provide for sustainable, energy-efficient spaces that would result in overall cost savings for organizations, renovations that make spaces more accessible for all members of an organization's community, and for technology and other equipment systems that would benefit the public. Competitive capital fund projects combine excellence in design with informed decisions which will positively affect the artistic quality and future sustainability of New York State arts and cultural organizations. All applicants must meet NYSCA's general eligibility requirements, which are available on its website at arts.ny.gov/eligibility. All applicants must also be pre-qualified in the Grants Gateway portal at the time of the application deadline on July 26th at 4 p.m. Please make sure to check your pre-qualification status earlier than this and request any updates at the very latest no less than 1 week before the application deadline to ensure staff are able to process your request. Keep in mind when proposing a request amount that NYSCA rarely awards grants that make up more than 25% of an organization's operating budget. Only not-for-profit arts and cultural organizations incorporated in New York State or registered to do business in New York State may apply for funding, and applications must clearly demonstrate that the project is related to arts and culture in both the CFA application and in the project plan. Applicants that fail to establish this focus will be deemed ineligible and will not be scored. Projects will only be considered eligible if they are not currently receiving funding from other NYSCA grant programs. Applicants with other NYSCA grants should note that all REDC grants for different projects are exempt from NYSCA's General II grant limit. Applicants to this program must also match the total request amount on a one-to-one basis. The matching requirements must already be secured, and the one-to-one match must be equivalent to the amount of the grant request. Applicants must also raise at least 50% of the total project cost from non-state sources. This means that no more than 50% of a total project can be funded or financed by awards from a single state agency, or a combination of state sources. Applicants must own their space or hold a long-term lease with a minimum of 10 years remaining on the agreement. This requirement excludes capital equipment requests. Applicants must own their facility in order to apply for any exterior rehabilitation projects, with the exceptions of critical exterior safety or accessibility upgrades, which may be reviewed positively on a case-by-case basis. Applicants must also demonstrate their capacity to complete the project within the 3-year contract period. Applicants can allocate funds to the following types of eligible costs: renovations or expansions of leasehold improvements, acquisition of fixed capital equipment, capitally eligible equipment systems and fixtures, soft costs of up to 15% of the total grant amount, and these eligible costs do not include construction of new facilities, nor do they include acquisition of land or property, or design or feasibility studies, or overhead costs that include organizational staff salaries. A full list of ineligible costs can be found in the guideline document. NISCA is more likely to support projects that meet at least one of the following priorities: projects that improve, expand, or rehabilitate existing spaces to provide access for all, projects that address known health and safety deficiencies, projects that address issues of building stabilization, those that from organizations that further cultural development in rural or minority communities, those that reduce an organization's operating costs, and those projects that demonstrate environmental stewardship or other sustainable building practices. Tips for completing your application. Applicants should make sure to adhere to the application deadline, date, and time. NISCA and the CFA do not reopen the application portal for late applications. Do not assume that reviewers have familiarity with your organization, project, or region. Panelists may come from areas from around the state and from a variety of professional backgrounds. Demonstrate alignment with program priorities. Make sure your responses in the questionnaire collectively explain how the project aligns with the goals of the program and your region. Make sure to adhere to eligibility requirements. Read the program guidelines carefully to ensure that the application is not disqualified. Common eligibility issues include lacking pre-qualified status in Grants Gateway at the time of the application deadline and requesting an amount below the minimum threshold for the program, failing to propose a complete eligible match, and sourcing more than 50% of the financing for the project from state funds. Double-check your budget totals when submitting your application. Make sure your itemized costs add up to your request and overall project totals, and that your proposed costs adhere to eligibility requirements. Explain how the itemized costs in your budget have been calculated in the space available. Explain your organizational financial statements, especially if there are abnormalities in the organization's operating budget or other financial materials. Provide letters of support from your local community and stakeholders. These are not required, but demonstrated support from stakeholders in your community will strengthen your application. Finally, we encourage you to submit separate CFA applications for capital projects and other types of workforce or programming initiatives. But most importantly, we remind you to adhere to the application date and time of July 26th at 4 p.m. When scoring your application, NISCA and the REDC will use a two-part process. The first part will include a review from NISCA staff and panelists, which will make up 80% of the total points for your score. This will begin with an eligibility review that will determine the initial eligibility of your application. Those applications that are deemed eligible will undergo a two-part review, beginning with a NISCA panel review, from a panel of practitioners with expertise in architecture, engineering, theatrical design, community development, and arts administration. Panelists and staff will evaluate applications for technical feasibility and alignment with program criteria. The Regional Economic Development Council's review will make up 20 points of the total score of 100. Their rating and review is conducted separate and apart from the NISCA process. Review and rating by the Regional Economic Development Councils will be based on the degree to which an application advances strategies and goals of the Regional Economic Development Councils. If you have questions or concerns, please direct them to the appropriate office as listed on your screen. Program and grant questions may be directed to the NISCA team at nisca.redc@arts.ny.gov. Technical questions for the CFA may be directed to cfa-tech@ny.gov. Questions about Grants Gateway, particularly issues pre-qualifying, may be directed to grantsgateway@its.ny.gov.